So I've been trying to find the perfect way to do an assassin build in Enshrouded, and I believe I have a pretty good one that offers a ton of instant damage and then just incredible mobility. You're basically untouchable. And this build isn't even really about a full-on damage build. This is about like control. I'm talking about like an untouchable assassin that really just jumps in, destroys a bunch of enemies, and then teleports in and out, and you won't even be touched. You won't be trading blows, no tanking hits. You'll just hit threats before they're a problem, and then they hit the floor, and then you're out. Forget feeling powerful. This feels almost like inevitable. Stick around and I'll show you exactly how I put this together. If you're new to this channel, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Enshrouded content. So the idea of this build is simply don't ever get hit, ever. We make it happening by putting together all the most aggressive parts of the assassin tree with the insane mobility from the survivor tree. And then we steal a little bit of precision damage from the ranger line just for good measure. This isn't really a typical glass cannon build because it doesn't really focus on actually getting hit at all. You're meant to be a ghost. They can't hit you if you can just outmaneuver all of them. Our gameplay loop is basically a deadly dance. You open from the shadows with one of the ridiculous sneak attacks that nearly one-shots an enemy. If it doesn't outright kill them, it deals a mess of damage. Before anyone else can react, you can blink and double jump instantly to reposition, breaking their line of sight. From your new perch, you can just pick off the rest with your bow while they're all trying to figure out how to get to you. If anything does manage to get close, your daggers and an evasion attack are there to dodge and damage instantly. It's proactive and it's very high skilled. You play it wrong, you're gonna die. And trust me, I died a lot, but I think I figured it out. The idea is that you are in charge of every single fight. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about stats. Now, the main focus of this whole quote unquote phantom untouchable build, I don't know how I'm gonna word this, we need to focus on dexterity, endurance, and constitution. First up, and most importantly, is dexterity, which comes as no surprise. Every point you pump into this gives you a 5% boost to your damage. This is our basic bread and butter, making our bow hit like a truck from a safe distance. A ton of our skills and armor even juice this a little bit more, turning your arrows into basically missiles of death. Next, we need endurance. Endurance is the absolute lifeblood of being untouchable. Of course, that makes sense. It dictates your total stamina bar, how well you regenerate your stamina, and then all the other different methods that you use to spend it. Sprinting, dodging, but most importantly, double jump. Having a giant stamina bar plus skills that help recharge it faster is what lets you stay constantly in motion, dancing around attacks that would absolutely flatline other builds. Finally, we've got constitution. This is kind of like a safety net. Each point gives you a little bit more health. I know the goal is to never get hit, but hey, mistakes happen, and having a somewhat decent health pool is probably going to help you out. That means like one stray arrow or surprise explosion won't send you straight back to the teleport checkpoint. It gives you a little bit of breathing room you need to master the build. Okay, so this is where the build really comes to life. We're weaving together a perfect hybrid of 3 different skill trees. And remember, you can respec these pretty easily, so don't feel like you have to stick with this exactly. This is the one that I put together. So we're starting here at the survivor because mobility is everything. The absolute first thing you need to grab is double jump. And I'm not kidding. It completely changes the game. It makes most fights a lot more survivable, and it lets you get vertical, dodging ground attacks. Find the cypher nest and pick off other enemies that are running around. After that, grab runner for faster sprinting with less stamina drain. And then you're going to beeline for rebound, which gives you a massive 50% boost to your base stamina regen. This skill is not negotiable. It's the secret sauce, we'll say, allowing you to dodge and zip all around the battlefield without ever actually running out of gas. Later on, you can grab Dessert Stomach for the extra food slot, which is just a massive free stat buff. I love that one. Dessert Stomach is like one of the ones that I put in all my builds. All right, so now that we're mobile, we have to dip into the assassin tree for the fun part, raw killing power. Start with the main skill, which is Sneak Attack, which lets you deal 10 times your normal damage to an enemy who hasn't seen you yet. This is your quote-unquote opener, your delete button, and basically you're meant to use that on the biggest threat in any fight. Next, pick up backstab damage to boost all damage from behind by 25%. This fits our playstyle like a glove. You'll constantly be zipping behind enemies, and this makes sure every hit is a haymaker. And yes, this will work for your bow too, so flanking an enemy for a range shot pays off big time. Now for the real game changer, Blink. This skill tosses your basic dodge roll into the trash, and it gives you a short range teleport instead. It's instant and it lets you phase right through enemies, and it gets you out of attacks that normal rolls could never hope to. It is hands down one of the best combat mobility pairing tools that you can have. Putting that with evasion attack, you can dish out a ton of damage right as you're blinking away. Finally, we're going to grab the rest of the Ranger tree to make our bow a true weapon of mass destruction. Get marksmanship, get sharpshooter for that combined flat 30% damage to all ranged attacks, and then grab sniper from the assassin tree for another 10% critical hit on range weapons. These three go nasty together. For some crowd control, we also can take shell shock. This allows your special arrows like exploding arrows to stun enemies, allowing you to lock down an entire battlefield from afar. All right, so the right gear takes this build from just being strong to being almost completely broken. For melee, you obviously want daggers. They're lightning fast, they get huge bonus from all of our backstabbing skills, and for endgame, you're hunting for legendaries like the crystal knives, which have some insane effects baked right in. For your range slot, a high damaging longbow is a must. You're looking for one of the perks like extra crit chance or faster draw speed. The Arsonist bow or any other well-rolled legendary will do the trick nicely. For most of the game, the rogue set is a fantastic craftable option. It gives you direct buffs to melee and backstab damage, feeding right into our core skills. If you're leaning more into the bow, the Deerstalker set or the Marksman set are great choices for their stamina and range crit bonuses. In absolute endgame, your holy grail is hunting down the Eagle Eye set for its unmatched range damage. Seriously, don't sleep on your buffs as well. With Dessert Stomach, you can run up to 4 buffs at one time. You should always have a health regen food, a stamina food like spiced tea for endurance, +5 endurance boost, and a dexterity food like stir-fried vegetables or vegetable soup. That 4th slot is your flex spot. Use it for a constitution buff or a specific resistance depending on what you're fighting, and that always goes without saying. Also have your rested buff active. All right, so let's go ahead and put this all together. Your gameplay is a smooth cycle of stealth, burst, and disappear. Every fight should start from stealth. Find the biggest, baddest enemy in the group, the elite, the caster, whatever, and just delete them with a sneak attack. As the others start to freak out and try to attack you, immediately blink to a safe spot, preferably somewhere high up, which you may have to double jump to. From there, it's just target practice with your bow. Take out all the ranged enemies first and always aim for headshots. If a melee enemy actually manages to close the gap, you can just double jump right over their head. You can spin around in the air and land behind them. It's a perfect setup for a dagger backstab, or you can use evasion attack to keep your distance, getting in quickly as you hit and then dodging away. You should never ever be standing still with this build. Be a blur, use walls, ledges, and pillars to your advantage. Climbing and gliding are combat moves for you now. Fighting a big knob? Open up with sneak attack on one, then blink away and then fire an exploding arrow into the tightest cluster of them. Thanks to shell shock, you'll stun a handful of them and give you time to pick off the rest one by one. That is the build. That is what I've been having fun with. It is pretty effective in a number of different situations if you build it just right. And this is a build that turns you basically into a true phantom on the battlefield. You're fast, you're lethal, it's hard to catch you, almost untouchable. It takes some practice to get the rhythm to, but once you do, you'll feel like you've completely broken the game. You'll be able to clear content faster and safer than you ever thought was possible. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Is there a piece of gear or skill that you would swap? Something that I'm doing differently that I need to do? I like to read all of these, so I'd love to see how you guys tweak your builds. If this guide did help you out, do me a solid and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really makes a huge difference. Now, there are a ton of mistakes that you can make here in Enshrouded, and a lot of them don't necessarily make sense until you've actually already committed them. Hopefully I can explain them to you here for more information so that you can get a little bit of a head start. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.